What else could he be but a jester?
Hello there everybody, this is Jester of None and welcome to Oxygen Not Included. I saw someone else playing this game and I have been wanting to play it desperately for a little while. What I did in the end is I bought the game, played it for a little while, to kind of get a feeling of how it works rather than just watching someone else play it. And I kind of got obsessed and have now done far too much of it. And I wanted to do a Let's Play before I burnt myself out. So for those who don't know, this is a colony simulator from Klei, who I think made Don't Starve, which I've never played, and I'm also not very good at keeping up with devs, so that's all I can say about it really. Well, other than the fact that I actually absolutely love it. So these are our dupes. These are going to be the guys who do our work. I'll explain a little bit as we're going along, just for those who haven't seen the game before. So here I have my three little dupes, three little duplicants, and I'm not happy with any of them. I'll tell you now. I'm gonna shuffle them all until I get exactly what I want, then explain it. All right? Let's get started on that. Alright, here we go. So, what I have done is I have rolled these through until we have someone who can dig, someone who can learn, and someone who can run. And that is because I want a diggy, and let's call this diggy drumple. Hang on, I can do this. Diggy drumple schnoop. There you go. That's a reasonable name. And then over here, and the reason why I want someone digging is obviously just to make digging faster. I've made sure they're not a vomiter, because vomiters really cause me a lot of problems in the way I like to play. And they've got all reasonable decor expectations, which helps me because I kind of tend to be a bit lazy with that stuff. Although I'm going to try and do better. And then we've got someone who is a good learner, which is a good scientist, someone who can do research quickly. Oh, I didn't notice they were. Oh, we've got two loud sleepers. Alright, I'm sorry, but these guys are going to go. Loud sleeping is one of the things that is one of the most annoying and problematic things. It forces me to design my base in a different way, and I don't like that. So this guy's going to get shuffled out. Okay, this is a little bit better. So what we have, they're both vomiters, but if I keep the stress down, it won't be an issue. We'll do our best. But they're both vomiters, but this guy's got high, or this girl rather, or this guy with long hair, I don't know. This person has high athletics, actually higher than I think before, with also digging, which is useful. They can't do any research, but that's okay, we don't really need them to, because we have this person with 8 learning. No one snores. This one has a small bladder, which will also cause problems, but should probably be fine. I'm not really happy to have two vomiters, but you know, oh well. Let's get started. So this one is my runner, and this will be Runny. Let's go for a muck. You don't do mucks often. Runny Muck. I want to go with an S. School book. There you go. Runny Muck School book. And then finally we have Sciencey Heimel Florm. That's even better. Heimel Florm is even better. Okay. So, and I think this is going to be called Gesticles, which I really like. Spelled it wrong there. Gesticles. Perfect. Let's get started. There we go. Just before we get started, I'm going to pause and take a look at our environment a little bit. I'm also going to put that up to full speed. So, what do we got? Not very dense oxygen areas, but there is oxalite, which will probably make it a bit denser, which is nice. Is that fresh water? Yeah, fresh water there. It's a pretty reasonable looking area. The metal, all the good metal, is surrounded by vacuums, which is a problem. I will tell you now, and I'll switch to it and look at it while I'm telling you about it. I have a plan. I'll put it on the screen actually while I'm looking at it. I have a very detailed plan, which will be on the screen probably. Probably looks a bit blurry because it's not very high resolution. A very detailed plan of how this space is going to look, and we'll see whether I actually end up making it like that. But, you know, there's a central chamber with a water filtration system, a CO2 filtration system, showers, toilets. There's also a rather complicated system that's not clear on the design of how to purify contaminated oxygen, and then 2 oxygen storage tanks, as well as a series of airlocks at the bottom, which are my own design, and I don't know if it'll work yet because I've never tested it. So, for the first thing though, and we can just go back to the game now, the first thing is that I always die too early to implement my plans because I build too fast and don't pay attention to air pressure. Well, not today. First thing we're going to do is not allow these guys to dig into the air pressure zones. And that is important because otherwise, I should actually just make them dig a little bit first so I can build. Because otherwise, we'll end up in a dangerous situation. Let me get them going on there, and as soon as they've done that, I'll put this tile down, and that signifies one of the high levels of our base. Actually, I believe this should be here, but they'll build it when they get around to it. There we go. Now, the plan I just showed you isn't actually a complete plan. There are small changes that need to be made to it because I designed it and then found some faults with it. So I'm just kind of placing nonsense for a second. There we go. Yeah, I designed it and then made some changes to it, but it basically works. So we'll see. While I have oxalite, I'm going to dig into these chambers, these areas here, because I will eventually need them, I believe. So it doesn't do any harm to have a ladder going down there. So long as I don't dig out the oxalite, so long as I don't cause the oxalite to start disappearing, because that'll allow me to have my base at reasonably high pressure for as long as possible. And also this is a nice low area, so we can have carbon dioxide fall into this space here. It's got a good amount of oxalite in it as well to keep it up to a high pressure. Our base will start getting to a slightly higher pressure as soon as we, get the oxalite all connected. Now, I want to get things good and started, with a reasonable, with things looking pretty reasonable. So, this should be the first floor, and my map tells me that these are power stations. So that should go there, like this. Ah, no, okay. There you go. See, every now and then you got to just quickly check the plan, because I was wrong. There you go. This needs to go here. And that should be almost perfect in terms of what's going to go there. Now, even though there are good and sensible things, good and sensible ways of organizing your systems, I am not going to follow all those good and sensible ways in all aspects. So, for example, right now, I'm going to chuck a toilet in a reasonably stupid place because I don't want to have to deal with too much vomit in too many places. Probably shouldn't block the oxalite, though. Let's go here. Because vomit and also toilet water, well, contaminated water, the stuff they let out, will cause me problems, and I don't want to have to deal with any contaminated oxygen, contaminated dirt, until I have the abilities, or rather contaminated air, until I have the abilities to actually do so. What I'll probably be doing is letting them build things and cutting through some of the building. I'm doing my best to not expand too quickly, but to a certain extent, you kind of have to. I'm not going to dig out there, though, because this is two food sources for us, which is rather nice. We'll get some dirt in a second, so that outhouse will be done. And as soon as they've used this toilet, I'll be able to set this to store any organic, any contaminated dirt. There you go. They've got dirt now. This outhouse will work, and they'll probably start using it soon. And we can probably bust into this. I tell you what, as soon as most of the oxygen in this area is around 2,000 kilograms, I mean, we're getting up there in some places. We're getting towards 800, 600 there, 700 there. We'll probably get towards 1,000. Down here is great. This is a great area to break into because it's got so much oxalite in it in such a small space. It's really dense. Yeah, we're probably going to get towards a good area soon. So as soon as it's quite dense, I will break into this vacuum area so that I can start building beds. They'll be fine without beds for a little while. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and get power started as well. So we want one space. And that's where the other one's going to be. I'll probably leave that one for now. And then immediately, even though this is not where it's going to permanently be, I'm going to put a battery down and chain those up. And then I'll put a research station next to it. And this is just really the basic first stage setup for having things work out. For making sure that things will be able to work long term. And as soon as we can, we're going to get farming tech to help us with our carbon monoxide problem. And they've probably used it now. I can probably put, there's probably some contaminated dirt. Yeah, there is. Great. As soon as we can get farming tech, I'm going to put in some food and some stuff to handle the carbon monoxide, which will also almost certainly gather in this sort of area. There we go. Power's already in. We need some metal before we can get into that. So let's dig out the copper that's here. There you go. Perfect. There you go. I won't dig out copper that's touching oxalite, like I said, though, because it's just too important. And there's also some coal here, which actually I won't ever need, or I shouldn't ever need anyway, because my plan is one thing, but how life will actually go, how the game will actually go, is another thing altogether. So okay, there we go. Now they can start building this, and I'll have the sciencey, what's her name, sciencey Heimelflorm is gonna get to work on food tech as fast as possible. Funny I called it food tech. That's actually what we call the lessons in England for when you're studying how to cook. Food technology. Okay, that was a weird little parentheses. Let's get this started on farming tech. I don't know why I called it food tech. Farming tech here. And hopefully Sciencey McGoogle. I'm just going to make sure that no one else is doing research. Actually, the only one who can research is the Sciencey guy, which is fortunate because it'd be really bad if he couldn't either. So I've also just quickly set up some other things here. I've set it so that Diggy's the only one who builds because he's the only one who's actually kind of, well, I guess that guy's good at it too. I was going to say that Diggy should be the only builder, but Runny's pretty good at building too, and he's fast, so, or she's fast, or they're fast. It's really hard not to gender them. So they're equally useful there. I'll just let them sleep through the night there. And I think I set some research, so this will be going now. Let's use the night time to take a quick count of how our oxygen's doing. Reasonably good, I think. I mean, 1,000, 1,000. The lowest area we have is 900, so it's getting up there quick. And we've not lost any oxalite yet, as far as I can tell. I mean, they are sleeping in a hole. A hole I think is full, which is filling up rapidly with carbon dioxide, but otherwise a functional hole. And there's nothing better than a functional hole. Let's, come on, I would like you to do some research, please. I'm going to set this research to the priority of 6, just so that it goes a bit faster. And I'm also going to set the running priority of 6, just so that we have a little bit more chance of keeping the power up. Now, food's fine, because we seem to be doing pretty okay in terms of we've got actually more calories than we started with, which I guess just means we've dug up some useful stuff. Carbon dioxide is not becoming a problem, and very happily, we have not yet got any contaminated oxygen, which is a big pain. To have, I mean, this is very dense oxygen. This is extremely dense. I might dig up there because there's a food source and it's very dense in oxygen and it's got a lot of oxalite, and because it'll allow us to having more oxygen. This will like triple the amount of oxygen I believe that we have. Having more oxygen will also allow us to build more. I may as well dig up. No, I tell you what, I may as well dig in terms of where I want to dig, in terms of where I want to have a ladder in the future. Kind of confuse myself a little bit there. So it should be like that. And now I'm not going to dig this oxalite here, just for the sake of avoiding any loss. There we go. And what I should do soon is put in some stuff for decoration. So I think I'll put this nice little vase here. It will be moved in the future because it shouldn't be there. It should actually be here. But just for the sake of upping the decor, because I don't want anyone to get stressed. They've all got quite low decor expectations and their lives are pretty good right now, seeing as they've got a lot of oxygen, not much carbon dioxide, and no contaminated air. But still, it could be better. So I'll make sure that I build decor. Who's idle? Why is someone idle? Oh, right, they never actually dug up there because I never put a ladder. Gosh, it can be a bit dense sometimes. There you go. Off you go. Do your stuff. I'm going to let them build this, and I'll cut to when they built it, because otherwise there's not much to do. We haven't got any briar seeds yet, although I could have sworn we dug up a briar. Let's get this to be harvested. Oh, I think we have to just dig it up, actually. There you go. Because that way we can plant this with the briar seed that it'll give us. There we go. Off you go. But I'd really like you to go up there if you don't mind. Let's put this to 6 as well. And they'll all stop what they're doing to build it, which will be nice. Apart from Sciencey. Because I kind of want Sciencey to keep going. It really is important to get food started now. And I should just check actually on our temperatures as well. Yeah, everything here is a good location to do grow food in, apart from right next to this heating stuff. I may go difficult. I may even go down here with the food. Right, there we go. We got our food. So I'm gonna go in here in the end. I'll put some floor in that so it works. And this isn't actually far off where I wanted to have food anyway. I'll only have to move it a few tiles. There you go. And that should be good. Oxalite's not covered. Nothing's changing. Works out pretty well. And let's make sure that our next research is something that's going to serve us well. I believe it's going to be gas piping, because it gives us access to this little gas permeable tile, which doesn't do well for our decor, but is quite useful in terms of allowing gas to flow freely. As you can see, if I put on the gas view, you can see that carbon dioxide can, well actually we're pretty lucky it's not getting trapped there. Carbon dioxide can get trapped in these areas here. So, but I think because of the amount of oxalite and the amount of pressure, it's not, we're not having it touch it too hard of a job. Let's put this here, and then hopefully Diggy will go up there and get his job done soon. Although considering how well things are going, it's not a big deal to wait on this. But I would like to see a little bit more of the area to see what we've got. I can see... Oh, is that... yeah, it's a morb. I'm really looking for a... I think it's called a Puft. I've never actually seen one in the game, but I know they exist. As soon as I can, as soon as it's reasonable, as soon as our base is pretty ready, I'm going to build out there so I can get a Puft. And that'll help us with our... That's how I'm going to handle our contaminated oxygen, which we have a good supply of as well. But we're going to... Don't worry about that. We're going to make enough of that we don't need a supply. And I can already get started while these guys are asleep on setting up the food production. I'm going to put that on a really high priority just so that it gets done quite quickly. And then as soon as we've unlocked this, I will also break into the vacuum area here, because this is like I said, this is really high density, and this will sort of account for the vacuum we're going to open up here, which will allow us to dig out a lot of this useful. Oh wait, actually, a lot of this useful copper. Let's get these all planted. There we go, all planted up, and hopefully they'll plant them soon, because I always take too long in getting food set up, and that causes issues, because they have sort of a cycle, and you have to really be aware of how long it's going to take for more food to grow, so that you're not going to be catching yourself up. So you're not going to be saying, we have a food problem, I should probably plant some food. You need to plant the food before you have a food problem. There you go, seeds being delivered. Perfect. I'd really like them to go over there and do that, maybe if I make it higher priority. There you go, they're starting to work up in this area. We've already got this food over here, this mealwood growing. I can either destroy it and place it here, but I think it's more profitable for us right now to have these guys growing here, and I'll just harvest them when I need them. Okay, here we go. Now I actually forgot to put a ladder in. I didn't think about the fact that they obviously won't be able to get up here. There you go. And that ladder is going to be permanent, because I think we'll always have stuff up here. This is supposed to be the shower area. So, if we remember the map, I might put it on the screen for a second, but I'm pretty sure I remember. This should be the area where the oxygen, the water tank is. This should be the area where the shower is, and this should be battery storage. So, we're getting actually pretty close towards the shape of our final base, or the eventual shape of this base, which is the only base we have. I'm going to take a quick check just to make sure there's no contaminated dirt, putting out contaminated air. Oh, I should also put in some storage while I can. Let's get these down. Since we're here, we've just got them as I was talking about stuff. Let's put in the storage, because it will improve the decor. I'm going to stick the storage just anywhere for now. Probably up here, because we won't be able to build the fancy toilets for a while. That is not where I wanted it. Did it again. There we go. Much better. And that's just because having stuff all over the floor makes the decor worse, I believe. And I'll just set that to dig out as well, because it's the sort of thing that can trap them. Oh, actually, she is trapped, so... right. I knew this time would come. We have a new duplicant. I will not be accepting any non-perfect duplicants, which is kind of a horrible thing to say. This guy can't research, but he's got a very high learning skill, so he's essentially useless. This guy's a great all-rounder, but he's a vomiter, and I don't want vomiters. And this guy, biohazard is not a big deal. He's got a very low decor expectation, but he's not that stunning in terms of who he is. I will accept eventually, but I will not accept any of these. Sorry, Otto Paging, I missed the other guy's name, but you just weren't the right ones for me. You know, that happens. Okay, let's have this go here, and that'll just make everything a bit easier. How is she getting up there? How did she get up there? Or is she still trapped? They shouldn't be able to get through that one block hole. One tile here. There you go. Makes my life easier. I should now... Oh, did we? Oh, of course we got the research. What is the next most important? Probably power regulation, because we can already build... No, liquid piping. Liquid piping. Let's go for liquid piping. But we're not far off from building our steam generator here, so that's pretty good. Oh, yes, of course, we need to open up... It's a shame, because I don't want to, but we need to open up our oxygen area here, or our water here. Is there not another water source we can use? This one might be better. I believe this one is better. Let's go for here, because it's also close to the algae as well. Let's dig down. I'll get some algae, which is a useful resource, and it's not a bad location anyway. There we go. And that should have all of our carbon dioxide sorted. It really is pooling very well. I'm not sure how many kilograms we have here. 2,000. That's really great pooling of carbon dioxide. We've got a very high pressure, and so far we've been able to avoid making things that use algae to create oxygen. Because, so the difference between, that's here I think, the difference between these two is this one uses algae to make oxygen, and this one uses algae to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. So if you use this one, your algae is basically being wasted, because you're producing more oxygen, but you still have carbon dioxide to worry about. This one uses your algae up, but keeps the same amount of oxygen and uses up your carbon dioxide. I mean, if you haven't got pressure already, then the algae deoxidizer can do a really good job for you. But if you already have pressure, then all you need is a terrarium, and it uses a terrarium, and it uses a good amount of, only a good amount of algae to convert that back and keeps your pressure high. Well, there you go. There's a little bit of a diatribe on oxygen generation, just in time for them to fall asleep. I'm not far off building their sleeping quarters, so you know, it's not a big deal. They're sleeping everywhere. Let's set this to all as well. Then I might actually put some really high priority sweeping in, because we can't go on for too long having this stuff all over the floor. So let's just get everything. There you go. On that's literally everything is a 9, I think. Yeah. So they should fix that pretty soon. Considering that everything else, how well everything else is going, it's not a big deal for them to take this time to clean up their base. I'm really, I know I keep talking about it, but I'm really happy about the oxygen situation, especially of having had this amazing pod of oxygen and carbon dioxide, extremely compressed. Because if you look, there's not just 3,000 per square meter. I guess these are meters. There's also 2,500 of carbon dioxide, which will convert, I guess, to roughly 2,500 of oxygen. So this is a really good little box to open, especially at the time when we've just got our algae. Our algae isn't actually doing anything for us right now because we haven't got any water, but soon it'll be being converted back into oxygen, which will be really handy. And I'm just going to make sure I don't see any contaminated dirt. We will have some contaminated dirt soon, which means we're not far away from needing to handle contaminated oxygen. But for now, we're okay. And we've probably got a ton of sand stored up. So I can actually check. Probably got a ton of sand stored up for the sake of cleaning up. I don't actually know where sand is. Consumable ore, I guess? No? Filtration medium, yeah. We've got a ton of sand stored up. So we'll be able to handle our contaminated oxygen pretty well. And we're not far off of researching it either, actually. If I check the research, contaminated oxygen cleaning is here. And we'll need sanitation sciences relatively soon. So this works out actually pretty well. One of the things I need to do though is check on what block I need for creating a steam cooling chamber in order to turn steam back into water, because I've seen the block, I've never actually seen the name of the block, because like I said, I never actually get to this point. I always mess it up beforehand. Oh, I hadn't noticed this. This looks pretty, no, it's not very dense at all. Okay, but that's fine. I do need this area, and it looks that there's nothing there that I can't deal with. There's oxygen, carbon dioxide. Do I see any? Is that contaminated oxygen? No, it's great. The water's not contaminated either, so that's a great place to have. There's some dense carbon dioxide. The whole area we need for our base is pretty safe, apart from, I guess, this contaminated water up here. But I can actually also handle that, because this room that will be here, the steam area, steam generation, will need contaminated water. So that's pretty good as well. So I'm pretty happy with our start actually here. They're still working on clearing things up, which I'm fine with. We've got one mealwood seed, and I may as well plant this as a blossom seed because I think it's edible. Yeah, the bud's edible, and I think it gives you a good amount of decor. More decor than these ones, I think. Yeah, which is not that important actually. I haven't checked our decor in a while. Decor's pretty good. No one's stressed, so rather happy about that. This guy, I expect them all to have bad backs because they've been sleeping on the floor, but it seems to not be a very long-lasting problem. I'm also going to turn this priority up a little bit because I could equally use the algae terrariums working. That would be equally helpful. And I will expand this downwards. There we go. I mean, I keep tooting my own horn, but I'm really happy with how well things are going. I promise I'll stop tooting in a second, but you know, nothing is broken so far. I'm shocked by how smoothly things are running. It's almost terrifying. The food is going to grow up soon. The food's getting to a stage where it can be grown. I will start a second stage of food so that we have a good relay going, because they have a certain timer. So if I start them at separate times, then they'll also produce at separate times, I believe. But I haven't confirmed that. Maybe they'll all sync up eventually. I don't know. Okay, nighttime. I am now going to begin the almost scary process of building the beds. That doesn't need to be there. Building the bed area. So, and that is because I have to pop into this vacuum, which will reduce our density by a lot. But we have a good density. There's nothing in here. I imagine this is going to go down by around 1,000. But it's not a big deal. We've still got oxalite producing. We've got a lot of conversion from carbon dioxide. There's actually a ton of oxalite, and this is really dense. So I think we're going to be fine. No big deal, even if I stress about it. So let's put this in here. I don't know how far this needs to go. I think far enough back for 3 beds. So let me just check that. There's also 3 beds and then a space in between them. And I can just put this in now, actually, for the sake of ease. I think like that'll be fine. And I'll put a briar plant in between them. There you go. More beds than we actually need, but I prefer to have excess than not enough. There you go. And that should be good. We're not breaking into any oxalite. We're getting actually what is quite a few nice resources. There you go. And then we'll need ladders. But we won't need those ladders there because that would be bad. They won't be able to access this for a while. That's fine. I'll wait till this oxalite uses itself up before I build there. And then they'll have beds. And I may as well put in the decor stuff now so that it gets built too. I wouldn't be able to put a light here. I did mean to design this so that I can put a light in, but it's no big deal if I can't. The other thing I should do is, since we have it, put the gas blocks in now. Oh, apparently I can't put gas blocks in. I'll just delete that actually. They need to be here, here, and here. And this is just to allow for the good circulation of oxygen, or of air rather. Well, of everything actually. Everything that can be circulated. This is to allow for it to circulate well. There we go. Perfect. It's, like I said, doesn't do well for decor, but it does help with everything else. And I won't put any there because I don't want to get rid of the mealwood first. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what. Let's expose one corner of this oxalite. If we lose one bit of oxalite, it's no big deal. It should still go though, because it's still touching some sandstone. Because it usually forces it to lose mass quicker. But then again, I guess they're almost all gone. It's funny that this oxalite's not giving out anything though, because it's exposed here. Maybe it's confused. I don't know. I'm going to get rid of these tooltips now, actually. There we go. I love that it's telling me there's insufficient oxygen generation when we've got incredibly dense oxygen almost everywhere. Oh well. Okay, first time ever, contaminated dirt, right? This is going to be our first exposure to contaminated oxygen in this game, and it is one of the things that trips me up. So let's make sure it gets swept up very quickly, because I believe it produces less when it's in a container. I'm just sort of... it's a bit weird to sit here watching this guy cleaning a toilet, but it'll be done soon. There we go. Right, that needs to be cleaned up with all speed possible. Let's make sure it's a 9. I don't know why he just left it on the floor. No, go do it now. Go do it now. Thank you. Why did it take so long to do that? And now we have 2 small blobs of contaminated oxygen. No big deal. Little bit bothering. Oh, it's only 1 now. It's compacted into 1, which is nice. Yeah, it's only a tiny amount of it compared to the rest. So we're not that badly off, rather. Although if we could get soon the ability to get rid of it, that would be nice. Maybe I should consider doing that now. But I could use, and I would like, the decoration, the interior decor. We may as well finish up these two. The research is working quite well, and I may soon build our first layer of batteries, because I wish I could see the height of the toilets. I guess they're too tall, as in they're 2 blocks high. Because the toilets have got to go here, and the batteries, that means the batteries have got to go somewhere around here. I shouldn't rush ahead, though. I'll just let them do what they're doing, and then we'll see afterwards. Oh, good, they're starting in the beds. Not too far from the end of this cycle. 5 cycles in, I think we're doing quite well. I don't know what everyone's skills are at, actually, now. I want to see, just have a quick look at their... Well, no one's really gone up much. And we can have a look at as well at our decor. That's lighting, not decor. I never go straight. I always, for some reason, lose decor. Not that great so far, because this stuff isn't very pretty. But it will be better in the future. I mean, I really hope. Yeah, low decor almost everywhere. That's okay. I tell you what, this is an important thing, so let's get this done quickly. Because also the gas flow will be helped a little bit. And I may as well, while I'm here, dig this out. Even if I'm losing the little bits of food that are there, it's not that big of a deal because we've got food growing ourselves. I'm hoping to skip completely the creation of more food. How much does this create every time it grows? 1,500 calories. Yeah, I mean... Oh, 15 mealwood. Okay, I think that'll be good. We'll pretty much double our calories when these are all produced. So that's pretty good. I should build some more soon, though. Everyone's sitting down for a nice snack. Very good. Okay, these are both putting out oxygen now, so I'm guessing these will be... I guess this reset the block. Yeah, they're both being used quite quickly, so we'll see a lot less oxygen from these guys soon. There was a big block up here, which I guess is now gone. I'm pretty sure there was a block here, or maybe I'm going insane. These are no longer producing because this is at full density, but it'll go down a lot pretty soon. So no big deal there. First bed completed. That'll make them a lot happier. This vacuum has pretty quickly stolen a lot of gas, but if I check out the area, not too awful. And especially once this has been dug out, this gas will flow straight down and probably fill in that gap. And we'll lock away this carbon dioxide forever, and then this area will no longer require being filled in. Oh, apart from that there's gas there. I didn't realise I'd put a gas permeable gas tile here. This area at least won't ever need to be filled in again, so that's fine. The rest of the area is so fully filled in with oxygen that it won't ever be a big deal again. So that's fine. There is annoyingly a little bit of carbon going down here, carbon dioxide. We'll deal with that at some point because this area will change a lot. second duplicant, or the second opportunity to get a duplicant. This guy's not bad. He's a vomiter. 7 athletics, 9 tinkering. I don't know. I'm still going to say no because I don't need him and he's got very high decor expectation. I promise though, we will eventually take on some more people. I'm going to harvest up these briar seeds so that I can plant our decor. And then I think we're coming pretty close to the end of the episode. But I'm really happy with the progress we've made. It's going, honestly, I think it's you guys watching. I've never done this well before. I think it's you guys that are helping me do that. Okay, well, or maybe not. Maybe it's just chance and things are going to go awfully in about 2 minutes. I can dig this up now and complete this ladder. And I love this ladder. I'm so happy with the fact that these 2 ladders, some of the first I ever placed, are perfectly placed and shouldn't ever need moving again, because this is pretty close to our final base, or the final base shape. Okay, the briar seeds have been picked up. I can now fill these in. Okay, we'll only have 1 missing. I think, is there another briar seed anywhere? No, that's muckroot. No. Okay, well, we won't have another briar seed for a while. That's fine. But I can eventually dig to one of these areas and get some more. Right? There's some... God, there's not another briar seed on the map. I wonder how you get more of those. That's a shame. Look at them. Why aren't you using your bed? Why did you fall asleep there? Oh, no, it's accessible. Why did you fall asleep there? The other bed's just there. That's very strange. Alright, well, I'm sure he'll get to his bed tomorrow. Okay, they're digging out that stuff. We've got a few more mealwood seeds, but I think we're going to save putting in more food until the next episode. Or at least I'll wait until these guys have produced food, and then as soon as they produce food, I will put more food in. And that'll actually make them all synced up, which is a shame, but probably fine. We're getting towards 1,000. Yeah, we've got 1,000 contaminated oxygen. So, as soon as the research on this, on the current research we're doing, which is one of the last novice researches, I think, as soon as these research are finished, we'll move on to straight away to the sanitation sciences, because there's a lot of things here that we could use. But for a while, we won't be able to use them in the way I'd like to, but we can put them in and then try and make them work. But we'll finish off these last 2 stages of novice research before we move on to the sanitation sciences, which will allow us to clear up this dirt, this filthy oxygen, which isn't moving too much. I mean, it's going around the base a little bit, but it's not moving so much that we won't be able to handle it. So we'll see in a bit. But if I stick it here, it'll probably do the job. And as you can see, the oxygen now is filled up in this area. We haven't got too much of a problem. Everything's around 1,000. If all the places I check are around 1,000, and this is being converted pretty reasonably. Otherwise, we wouldn't see such high oxygen levels in this area. Apart from that, you do have this very helpful oxalite here, still doing a very good job. And I don't believe it's reducing almost at all. Yeah, it's this one that's producing oxygen. It's not reducing at all because the oxygen level's quite high in the end. So I'm pretty happy with it, actually. Ah, they can't access up here. So this ladder is a temporary ladder for them to be able to get up here. And as soon as these plants are planted, I think we're going to call it a day. Oh, apart from that, we got our research. I'll put this research on, and then we'll call it a day. What did we get in the end? Some nice sculpty things. I tell you what, I'll put some arts in. There's one art there. I'll put another art in there. And that'll make our decor really great. And would you look at that? Plants everywhere. Beautiful decor. Actually, the decor's horrible. It doesn't work out at all. It's all red. But no one's stressed, at least, so that's the good thing. Okay. Given that, things are going pretty well. We've got a lot of oxygen. We've got a good amount of beds. Everyone's sort of getting up there. We're going to get to more power in the next episode. Things are starting to clean up a little bit. I'm going to say this is it for this episode. So I'm going to thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, don't hesitate to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you've got any ideas, questions, or suggestions. It's a really useful thing to know at the very start of a new series. So I will see you next time, and thank you very much for watching.